How did you get into software development, and then how did you get into AI?
And that's a funny story actually. Remember that I was a very bad student. I was not average. I was
Business.
very
Like, would you want to do that ever again, or is it like you're like, this is not something for me?
probably on a more I would call it like private equity kind of approach, which is like
Right.
I will potentially not get back to like
Hello,
oh yeah.
everyone, and welcome back to another episode of ChaiNet. So we'll be inviting Jose, who's a Colombian engineer with 7+ years of experience in AI production battle, who's now building something that sounds like science fiction but is very real. Jose, welcome to ChaiNet.
Hey, how's it going? Thank you for having me. It's pretty
It's
cool being
right.
here.
Very really excited for you to join us today. So, how did you get into software development, and then how did you get into AI?
And that's that's a funny story actually. Remember that I was a very bad student. I was not average. I was very bad. And I think one of the I don't know if the causes, but one of the things that made me a really bad student was that I was really into video games and I loved playing video games like all day, and that's literally all that I did. I used to play like World of Warcraft since I was like 8 or 10, and like that was my whole like life until I was 16. So I
Right.
was really into video games and League of Legends and World of Warcraft and a bunch of video games, like everything I could get my hands on. And when I get to like make the decision of what to go to the university for, it was honestly a very random decision. And it's like I got into like the biggest like public university here in Colombia, which is called National University of
Mm-hmm.
Colombia. And it's really hard to get in. And no one honestly thought that I was gonna pass because like you usually have to be a very good student to get
Right.
in.
Right. And there's like
Um,
a separate exam for the university's entrance.
they do, yes. They do a different exam and all of that. So I just like said like okay, I might just try it, see how it goes, and it was pretty good. I mean, I got
Mhm.
in the first time.
Right.
But the funny thing is that I got in, and then after you get in, they ask you like, okay, what career do you actually want to like pursue in the university?
Right.
And like until my last days, I was thinking about studying philosophy or something related. I really liked uh, reading and philosophy and all of that. But then, like in the last like week, I was like, no, you know what? I really like video games, so I need something related to video games. So I literally looked in Google like what careers are related to video games, and it was like, yeah, pretty much like software engineering. You can build video games, and I was like, yeah, that's my thing. So
And
I got into it's called systems and computing engineering, but it's
mhm.
software engineering pretty much. The funny part is I hate building video games. I found very early in the career
Right.
that it was super hard to build video games, and not only hard but kind of boring, to be honest. So it's funny. I think I was just lucky that I ended up in a career that I got in for the wrong like like the wrong decision, but it ended up being like something that I really liked. And I was like sitting in a computer every day, and I was getting paid for it. So I was like, this is pretty cool to me. Um, so I think I was just very fortunate. It was a fortunate decision, I would say. So yeah, we should talk
Amazing.
about.
Yeah. So in 2019, you started a company called Vortex, if I'm not wrong, right? And and then you basically dove into entrepreneurship once, and then you went back to a job. So what's the story here? Story there.
No, the story was actually a funny story. I was like, I'm actually not 30. I'm 28. So
Oh
I
wow.
was like 18 or 19 at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I met my best friend on the university, which is the co-founder of Handit, of my other co-founder. Funny enough, and we had a couple of like small jobs since we were very young. Like from 19 or 20, we started working on software. We really liked it. Um, but then at some point, we were like kind of bored, and we were like, we should kind of do something like something else. Like there has to be something more difficult, especially like we were always finding like like there has to be something harder than just building software. So
Right.
we ended up trying to build a software house, which was Vortex, and
Hmm.
Vortex was pretty much like we were really good engineers, to be honest, since we were really young. So people
Right.
started like asking for consulting and building products and all of that. So we ended up making like this like software development house, and we got like 3 or 4 projects in. It was going very well. I mean, we got paid really well in those times,
Right.
but we started getting kind of pissed. I mean, we were really young and immature, I would say. So we started getting really pissed at the projects that we were building because they were
Hmm.
very boring.
Right.
And it was like, yeah, I mean, they pay us pretty good and all of that, but the projects are like garbage. I mean, it was super
Hmm.
boring. So we ended up just closing it and trying to find startups. And it's interesting because we like stopped working on Vortex just by not finding more clients. We were like, no, let's just not keep doing this. And there's this startup here that's called Rappi. That's really big startup, like unicorn status and all of that.
Wow.
And they were training engineers at the time, like I don't know, like doing kind of boot camps and stuff.
Hmm.
We ended up getting into one of those boot camps together. Um, and we like met the like startup world, like starting like finding uh like how startups actually worked, and we were like,
Right.
this is it, like this is what we want to do,
Amazing.
startups. And we ended up like finding jobs in the startups, and that's kind of how we end up in San Francisco, by just like finding the next harder step that we could find, pretty much. That was it.
Amazing. So you've basically always found the hardest path, and then you try to, okay, now let's try to walk this path and let's see how what happens.
Pretty much, I would say so.
Pretty cool. That's an amazing story. But you've done a like a conventional business as well, right? Co-working space, coffee shop, and now and of course a software services company, and now you're building an actual, like, a startup, by definition. So what was your experience with the conventional business? Like, would you want to do that ever again, or is it like you're like, this is not something for me?
No, I think we will probably at some point get into that again, but probably on a more like I would call it like private equity kind of approach, which
Hmm.
is like
Right.
I will potentially not get back to like, oh yeah, let's build a co-working space or a restaurant uh or like a hotel or something like that. Probably not me specifically, but my wife, she's really smart and she loves all of that. So we will potentially build something where I'm like pushing some things in there and whatever, but she'll potentially be the one that actually handles most of that, like
Right.
lower risk, you could say,
Yes.
things, and I'm just like the gambler one, probably. So yeah.
Amazing. Yeah. Wow. That's partnership in the true sense, right? Like one person does a low risk, decent, like stable sort of a thing, and the other person takes risks and goes to the next. Amazing. Now let's get to Handit now. What is Handit? Like, just how do you what's your elevator pitch?
Yeah, I mean, my elevator pitch has changed a bit since like a couple months ago, I would say. But
Mm-hmm.
pretty much Handit is an autonomous engineer that fixes other AI systems. That's pretty much what we do. So you can like on the background is pretty much an infrastructure that monitors 24/7 your AI. It has like a brain that evaluates the behavior of your AI. And then at the end, we connect with your developer workflows like locally or in GitHub, and we directly generate optimizations on what we find that's failing on your AI. So, for example, we
Right.
have, let's say, a support chatbot, and it's for fintechs and whatever it is, and users are just asking you to, I don't know, like instead of charging them $500, charge them $5. We catch them immediately, we alert everyone, and we fix it automatically so it doesn't keep happening, pretty much. So that's pretty much what we did.
Amazing, amazing. But like when you tell people, that I'm building an AI that fixes AI, what's the reaction?
Um, I think that has changed in the last couple of months, to be
Mm-hmm.
honest. But when we started, it was like we were just bullshitting everyone. It felt really weird because everyone was like, "Yeah, I don't think so," and I was like, "Yeah, no, I mean, I can't show you." And then after they saw like demos and all of that, it was like, "Oh, that's pretty interesting," because like people thought it was just like, "Oh yeah, I just built a prompt that fixes your." I was like, "No, no, no, that's not it. It's like literally a complex infrastructure that has like monitoring evaluations, like code
Right.
evaluations, AI evaluations, and then generic algorithms to optimize stuff and all of that, and then A/B testing. Like it's pretty robust, I would say. But like once you tell people like the first time is like, oh yeah, I pretty much built an AI infrastructure that fixes your AI. It was like probably you didn't, and I was like, no, 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 for sure, for sure,
Yeah.
I did. I'll show you. But the last couple of months that has like changed a bit. I
Mm-hmm.
think partially because we've also switched the narrative a bit, so it sounds less science fiction, I would say. It's not like, oh
Right.
yeah, it's just AI that fixes your AI, but it's like, no, we built an autonomous engineer that allows you to generate fixes and all of that, and it connects to GitHub, so you can like have a sense of control of what's going on, and that has improved a lot of the narrative for people. But also,
Right.
I think this year has been incredible for us just because we're really focused. It's kind of weird because we're open source, so our focus is engineers,
Right.
but our final client is not the engineer; is the enterprise that actually hires that engineer.
Right.
Um, but end of the day, what I was trying to say is that it's been really interesting the last couple of months because enterprises now have starting to be more mature on AI, and it's not like, oh yeah, let's just build 25 POCs and see what sticks. But they're like, okay, we build like 25, we stick with three because everything was just shitty.
Right.
But then they found out that like, okay, there's a huge reliability gap from what we built and what we can ship to 5 million users, you know?
Right.
um, so it's been very interesting switch in just a couple of months where people now is like literally looking for solutions like us. They like I think the last three enterprises that we landed was fully inbound. Like they literally contacted us and it was like we were looking for a solution like you. We were like, oh,
Wow.
that's crazy because initially it was super hard to even make a C-level understand what we were doing. Like we're trying to make AI reliable and secure because, and they were like, no, but AI fixes itself already, doesn't it? And I was like, no, that's
Right.
literally not how it works. Um, so I think it was just an informational gap pretty much. And it's like
Hmm.
everyone was trying to adopt AI, but no one
Right.
really knew the tweaks and minor things that was going to start to happen. So we were like interesting very early on that journey, but now it feels like it's trying to land on where the problem actually is now. So that's great.
That's interesting. I think, yeah, like people are now understanding what actually works in AI and what is like marketing faff. It's very similar for the Indian startup ecosystem as well. Maybe we're a couple of years ahead. I think this was the situation probably 5 to 6 years back. There have been some successful IPOs, some successful tech companies who now come out, and now there's Shark Tank India which has started. So there are things which are improving here as well, and I'm sure another 5 years and probably you'll be one of the investors in Shark Tank Colombia. So you never know.
Well said.
Amazing, but amazing, Jose. It's been amazing. We're actually running a bit short on time, so I will ask one final question, which is very important for our listeners, and for especially our junior listeners, right, who are right now either in college, they're in final year, or in their first year of their jobs, working, and wanting to get either a better job, better work, or maybe move into AI, right? So what should our junior techies focus on to uh, to be employable, and to build a good software engineering career path? What do you think should be their focus
Oh,
now?
I think that's a pretty interesting question now in time because I I didn't mention that, but we also had a company for like a year that was running boot camps for developers.
Oh wow.
Um, and I wouldn't do that today. Like I wouldn't run a boot camp for developers today, because I think the industry and the tech like landscape has changed radically in the last couple of years, but especially like last maybe months, where like Cursor or Claude have got like incredibly good. Um, and it's like I've been using Claude and Cursor since they literally got out, um, and the difference is enormous, like stupidly big. But also, it's like on the teams that I used to lead, we were all using AI, and it was like a must. It's not like, oh, you might want to use AI if you want to increase your productivity. It's like, no, you have to, like, that's the baseline. You have to be really good at using
Okay.
AI. And if you're not, it's fine. We'll show you how to do it. But I think that's a must nowadays. And it's like, you already are in the university, you're already or did a boot camp in software development, it's fine, but that's not going to be enough. That's not going to cut it. It's like now the landscape has switched a lot onto massive productivity gains again. I think it, like with FANG companies and all of that, I think it went a bit down for some
Right.
years, whereas like it's fine, you're very valuable, like you're a very costly engineer even if you're a junior, um, and you don't have to work like crazy hours, and you don't have to be ultra productive, you're building like internal shitty tools or whatever, and it's fine. I think now like companies are like, no, that's not gonna cut it anymore.
Hmm.
You
Okay.
have to be, and I think for juniors is a bit hard today, to be completely transparent with you. And it's not to discourage anyone, but to actually try to gain new skills very fast now. And it's like, you might be a very good developer, but a normal developer that's worse than you probably, that is really good at using AI, is gonna kill you. Like it's
Hmm.
gonna, like your productivity is gonna be way off. So I think the first thing is you have to learn to use AI coding tools if you don't know already today. And not only like, oh yeah, I use Cursor sparsely. It's like, no, you have to be very good at using them. There's
Right.
like, if you go to Anthropic guidelines, they even show you like what are the best practices for do like agentic coding. I hate agentic word, but whatever. Uh,
Right.
but like to do coding with AI, and I think you gotta be very good at it. So I think that's the first thing, and it's like you guys, we all are, but especially juniors are in a really weird spot. Whereas like, if you go to an interview, they will potentially won't allow you to use that much AI to code and and it makes sense. Like you actually want to see that engineers are good enough.
Right.
But on the other hand, I think in a couple of years, everyone is going to just interview you, and you have your Claude or Cursor tool, and it's like, you just figure this thing out, and I'll
Right.
just see how you use AI and how you code overall. Because like like a year ago, everyone was doing still like binary trees, freaking questions, and I hate them. But now I think more and more is like, show me that you can solve a problem, and if it's with AI, that's better. So
Right.
I think that's one of the things. Like, be really good at using AI, and not like some AI. Is like, be a freaking incredible engineer using AI. That's thing one. And not only using AI for coding, but using AI for everything that you can. I think that's gonna push you up even with more senior engineers that are not that good using AI, because they're like trying to push it back, and it's like, no, we don't need it, we don't need it. It's like, we do,
Of
and if
course.
you're not using AI, you're gonna get smashed.
Yes.
So
For sure.
that's thing one mainly, and two is start building agents.
Mhm.
If you're still like not so comfortable with the concepts, start. I mean, there's a lot of free knowledge out there. We're even starting to run a course, a very basic course, not online unfortunately, but maybe in the future, um, on building agents, but very basically. Start looking for like frameworks that are very nascent as well, but you can start looking for LangGraph or LangChain. There have been at least for a year out there, which is already like a long time, funny enough.
Right.
Um, and yeah, so like, be very good at using AI, be very good at building
Building
AI,
agents.
and not just like building shitty agents, but actually like understanding how an agent is actually built. I think like when you go to the university or something like that, you start getting very basic stuff that like help you understand how everything works. With agents, there's not so many engineers that are really smart about how it actually works. So I would go there to the basics, not to
Hmm.
the basics of how an LLM is trained. I think that's too low level, which still, if you like it, go ahead. I mean, that's going to be really cool. But I think it's like for the market itself, I think it's very helpful that you understand how an agent works, how a good agent is built, how to do reliability, because that's going to be a pain in the ass in every company in
Right.
the world. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I think it's now less about how good you are for data structures and all of that. I think that's still important, to be honest. I mean, you have to know the basics, but I think it's more important now how optimal you are on your work, because like now knowing the basics is the baseline. It's like everyone knows the basics. Now how good you
What can
are
you do
building
after that,
what no
right?
one is building. Exactly.
Exactly. No one's
And
hiring
especially
you
like
because you know all the data structures. That's almost
exactly.
like knowing
And
English now, right?
yeah,
That's you need to
yeah,
know.
exactly. Exactly. And it's I think it's very interesting because now the gap between the people that's on the baseline and the people that are doing a bit extra on AI, a bit extra on understanding how agents work, a bit extra on on those kind of like more cutting edge, like that's not even cutting edge, but like
Right.
starting to get there, like you're gonna have a huge
Huge
advantage,
gap.
even if you're a junior dev. So
Right.
I would push into that for sure.
Amazing. Amazing. Great. Jose, it's been amazing having you here. Thank you for, telling us your amazing, interesting, very interesting story. How you've tried everything, you've done a little bit of everything, and now you're building this. You're building a very deep tech, new, very different agentic. I've been, I've been speaking to so many entrepreneurs around, and this is like something which is very, very unique, right? You're getting there are a lot of people doing very similar things, but you've like kind of cracking to, a very small niche, very good problem. For all our listeners, that was Jose, co-founder of Handit.ai. And yeah, thanks for joining us on ChaiNet, where we learn from builders before the machines take over. That's our tagline. Until next time, keep building, keep working, keep studying, whatever you're doing. And if you're building, then maybe you can let Jose's AI help you build better. Thank you. Thank you,
For
Jose.
sure. Thank you guys. Have a good one. Bye. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Bye bye.